Now we go on to the case study that is related to our module. And this is going to be about the ethical dilemmas that company and people face. So the case study that we have herein is about the pharmaceutical dilemma, that is profit versus public health. Now the background of it is Medicure Pharmaceuticals, a well-established company known for its commitment to research and development, was one of the cusp of launching a new drug, that is Vital C, designed to treat a rare, severe autoimmune disease. The drug showed remarkable efficiency in clinical trials, offering significant improvement and hope for patients with limited alternatives. The R&D, research and development team led by Dr. Anya Sharma was proud of their breakthrough. So now we are going to delve into seeing what the dilemma of this particular company, the pharmaceutical dilemma of the Medicure Pharmaceuticals was. Now the ethical dilemma was just weeks before the planned launch, a final round of extensive independent testing revealed a concerning side effect that was in 0.5% cases, approximately 1 in 2,000 patients, but yet that one also was affected. Vital C caused a rare but severe liver complication that could be life threatening. Though the drug was curing whichever it was the autoimmune disease it was made for, but yet with a drawback. The side effect was not initially detected in the earlier smaller scale trials. The senior management team, led by the CEO, Mr. Rajesh Gupta, faced a critical ethical dilemma whether they would want to go at a loss or would want to uh, care more about the public health that they were entrusted upon with. So, the option A, what it could have been or what they thought about. Proceed with the launch with disclosure, launch Vital C as planned, including a clear warning about the liver complication in the drug's packaging and patient information. Now, when we eat medicine, some of the drugs do have a disclosure there that if taken for a longer time or if continued, what might happen. So, a similar disclosure they're talking about. The argument was that the drug's benefit for the vast majority of patients outweighed the small risk, and discontinuing it would deny hope to many. Now, for patients, taking that drug was not a choice. They had to, because if they wanted physical well being, they had to. But then with that came that apprehension also that with continued use, their liver may be affected. This option promised significant financial returns for Medicure, which had invested heavily in Vital C's development. Now, whenever there's research and development happening in the field of medicine or any production, there's so much of manpower at stake. There's so much of money, monetary involvement which is at stake. So the company has to actually think how to navigate all that. Option B, delay the launch for further research. So, if we think about further research, it will again involve a lot of economic drawback because then it will require funding again to look for a resource or a leak stop arrangement for the liver dysfunction. Halt the launch and invest more time and resource into researching the liver complication, hoping to either mitigate it, identify a subset of patient at risk, or develop a safer alternative. This would incur substantial financial loss, delay life saving treatment for patients, and potentially allow competitors to catch up. because once a drug component is there up in the market, then you do have competitors, and then it is not very difficult for people who are working in the pharmaceutical wing to develop a alibi for the drug. Option C, abandon the drug completely. Discontinue development and production of vital C entirely due to the ethical concern, despite its efficacy for most and the significant financial investment. Now, abandoning, I don't think is a very good idea, and any company won't do that because there's so much of, again, going on to the manpower equipment that people have put in man hours to find out, to research, and to develop that drug, and also the significant financial investment, because anything, we know that anything which has to be researched needs a monetary input also, because there's lots of experimentation which goes on, there's lots of research work that goes on, people have to be paid, resources have to be bought, and experiments have to be done. So the space also needs energy, time, money, resources, everything. So it's a very comprehensive packet that one has to combat and look at. This would be the most financially challenging option for the company. And companies, you know, that they are into money making, they would not incur that big a loss for anything. Now, the ethical decision making process and how it is going to filter and pass on. Internal conflict and debate. Now, within the company, within individuals. The management team engaged in intense discussions revealing various ethical perspectives, reviewing of what can happen and what cannot happen, and if they would have floated the drug, as we have read in option A, with various disclosures, and what health malfunction it could entail for many of the consumers. No doubt it would save them from that autoimmune disease, but there is no use. It would add another burden of a liver dysfunction to them. So the management engaged in intense discussion, and the perspective that came out, the very first was the utilitarian perspective, or the maximizing of good. So there was a pre-launch option, that was option A. Many argued that 0.5% was a very small risk. But remember, in that 5.5% also, there are lives involved, there are people who are involved. And the drug could save or vastly improve the lives of thousands. From a utilitarian standpoint, greatest good for the greatest number, launching the drug seemed justifiable, considering it's only 0.5%, provided the risk was clearly disclosed. I mean, you had to share or tell the people who were consuming the medicine. Denying the drug to 99.5% of patients for the sake of zero point 0.5 seems disproportionate. So now, why disproportionate? Because zero point 0.5 again is a very small number or negligible when we count the terms of percentage. But if we count in terms of human, like zero point 0.5 could be 1, could be 2, as many, depending upon how many or how much are affected by that autoimmune disease. Now, what was the consequence that was considered? High profits for Medicare, benefiting shareholders, employees, improved health for many patients, potential for further research and development with profits. And what was the negative? Severe harm to a small number of patients, potential lawsuits, reputational damage, if not damaged transparently. So, people who would be negatively impacted would obviously come to claim whatever, as in money in the form of lawsuits or just damages, could be anything. Then we have the deontological perspective, that is duty and rights. So, pro delay that we saw, or abandoning that we saw in option B or in option C. Some argued that Medicare had a fundamental duty to do no harm because it was a pharmaceutical company. It was involved into the well-being, physical well-being of people. Non-maleficence. and a responsibility to prioritize patient safety above the profit. Instead of making money, considering the well being of people. They emphasize the right of every patient to safe and effective treatment. Even a small risk of severe harm was unacceptable if it could be avoided. Now, harm means danger to human life, the person who is consuming it. The consequence that was considered was financial loss for the company, delayed treatment for the people who needed relief from this autoimmune disease. What was the positive? Upholding ethical principles, strong reputation for integrity, enhanced patient trust in the longer run. Now, the third is virtue ethics perspective, character, and integrity. Pro delay again or abandon the whole project. Dr. Sharma strongly advocated for delaying or abandoning, arguing that a truly virtuous pharmaceutical company would prioritize human life and well being, even at a greater cost. The cost was financial loss. What kind of company did they want to be? One that put profit first, or one that exemplified integrity and compassion for humans? What was the consequence that was considered? Internal pride and moral compass alignment, that people would feel satisfied, long term reputation as a trustworthy company, and what was the negative? Short term financial pain, the loss, financial loss. So, the decision and the consequences then. After passionate debate, Mr. Gupta, influenced by Dr. Sharma's unwavering stance on patient safety and the potential long term reputational damage, made a difficult decision. Now, suffering a monetary loss can be recovered. However, a person's health, if declined, or a mortality cannot be recovered. So, decision was option B, delay launch for future research. Medicare publicly announced the delay, citing newly discovered side effects of their commitment to patient safety. They pledged significant resources to further research and mitigating the risk. So they were all for the well being of the people, for the health of the people. Now, the short term and long term vis a vis. Short term consequences, financial loss, Medicare stock, the prices dropped significantly, investors were disappointed, and some key development personnel left the company due to the delay because it was a harm to their professional growth. Negative public relation, that was initially again. Some patient advocacy groups expressed frustration over the delay, emphasizing the urgent need for treatment for their existing patients, people with that particular autoimmune disease. Internal morale of the people and the employees working. It was mixed. While the R&D team felt validated and proud of the ethical choice, the sales and marketing team were disheartened by the lost revenue and the delayed launch. How about the long term consequences? Research breakthrough. After an intensive 18-month research period, Medicare's team, with renewed determination, identified a genetic marker that could predict the liver complication. So they did find a solution after the delayed launch of the drug. They developed a diagnostic test and a modified closing protocol that significantly reduced the risk, making Vital C safe for the vast majority of the patients. There was enhanced reputation and trust. When Vital C finally launched with a new diagnostic test and protocol, Medicare's reputation, it soared. They were lauded for their ethical courage, applauded, recognized, and commitment to patient safety. This built immense public trust and loyalty. Increased market share. Patients and doctors gravitated towards Medicare, attracted. Viewing them as a company that genuinely cared, this led to Vital C dominating its market segment and increased sales for other Medicare products. not only for Vital C but for the other products also they launched. Stronger internal culture. The decision reinforced an ethical culture within Medicure. Employees felt proud to work for a company that prioritized values over immediate profit, leading to higher retention rates and greater innovation. Legal protection. By proactively addressing to the risk, Medicure largely avoided future lawsuits related to the liver complication, saving potentially billions in legal fee and damages. That would have happened because people would have gotten affected or the ill effect of the drug. Positive industry impact. Medicare's decision set a new ethical standard in the pharmaceutical industry, encouraging greater transparency and patient centricity. It was patient centric. Mutual fulfillment. The choice, though difficult, ultimately led to the fulfillment of a greater number of people. Safe treatment for patients, a thriving company built on integrity and a positive contribution to healthcare. So, the conclusion of the case study is that it demonstrates that the ethical decision making, while often difficult and seemingly costly in the short term, can lead to significantly positive and sustainable consequences in the longer term. By prioritizing core human values like safety, like integrity, like responsibility over immediate financial gain. Medicare Pharmaceuticals not only averted a potential disaster but also cemented its position as a respected and successful leader in its field, ultimately achieving greater mutual fulfillment for all stakeholders. The initial courage to do the right thing paved the way for lasting trust and prosperity. Hence, they curbed the ethical dilemma.